The other side. Tony's good friend, Colonel Rod of the military, came to Tony's house as soon as he received a call from Tony's girlfriend Pepperpotts. At the moment, Tony has been snatched from the small arc reactor in his chest by Obadiah Stan. Fortunately, Colonel Rod came in time. Only then did Tony's life be saved with the old small arc reactor. At the same time, Tony also anticipated that his girlfriend would be in danger. Regardless of the lack of energy in the old arc reactor, he put on a steel battlesuit and flew to the Stark Industrial Building. And at the moment, Phil Coulson has already arrived inside the Stark Industrial Building because he set out first. Accompanying him are Tony's girlfriend, Pepper Potts, and several SHIELD agents. In a secret floor of the Stark Industrial Building, they discovered Obadiah Stan, who had been wearing a steel battlesuit. Compared with Tony's steel battlesuit, Obadiah Stan's battlesuit is larger and has a richer weapon system. At first glance, it is a real killer. Phil Coulson brought a few agents with him, and he was not his opponent at all. Obadiah Stan, who was wearing a steel battlesuit, seemed to become even crazier. He has almost lost his mind, chased out of the Stark Industrial Building and came to the street. Pedestrians on the road fled in fright. Recently, some weird things have always appeared in New York nights. Either the New York military base was attacked, or the three-headed dogfight in hell was abhorrent, and there were even dogs eating people on the street. So, this time there was a robot, and people seemed to take it off. The adaptability of the people of New York City has greatly improved. People on the road took out their phones and started taking pictures. Even more crazy reporters rushed all the way, came to the scene, and broadcast live. This kind of onlookers made Obadiah Stan even more mad. He felt that he now wearing a steel battlesuit is a god. All human beings will crawl under their feet. But at this time, in the distant sky, a stream of light suddenly appeared. A golden and red figure suddenly appeared. That figure is Tony Stark wearing a steel battlesuit. When the two enemies met, they were extremely jealous. They fought together in an instant, that is, because Iron Man's energy is not sufficient, and he has a great disadvantage in terms of the weight of the battlesuit. So, as soon as the war started, Tony was at a disadvantage. The fight between the two even came directly to the middle of the road. Obadiah Stan directly lifted a car and slammed it at Tony. However, he was hit by the energy cannon in Tony's chest and flew out. But Obadiah Stan's armor is extremely defensive, and it seems to have no effect at all when attacked. At this time, a small bright yellow sports car, galloping from a distance. Obadiah Stan's eyes lit up and he stood on the road of the small sports car. Is there anyone who is not afraid of death? Then do the same, and use this car to give Tony a heavy blow. Far away, countless onlookers all saw the fast-moving Camaro. When seeing the steel giant standing in front of Camaro and lifting one of his big feet, everyone's mood suddenly started. That's it. The passengers in this car are going to die. In just a while, the steel giant had already destroyed several cars. Many people have been killed and injured. A series of terrifying explosions occurred across the road. The fire was blazing, and the smoke billowed. Is the driver in that Camaro blind? How could you not see such a tragic situation? Why did you rush over at all costs? The onlookers began to speculate. A reporter, facing the camera, has even interrupted the live broadcast that the car will crash. My friends in the audience, today is another sad day. We can see that the black robot is obviously the evil side. In the battle, he has destroyed countless cars and killed no fewer than dozens people. And the golden and red robot seems to be the righteous party, but his current situation is also precarious. He is not the opponent of the black robot at all. The reporter also couldn't tell whether the two fighting guys were robots or humans. After all, they are too armed. Oh, my goodness, a small yellow sports car rushed past. Don't you want to die? The reporter even pretended to cover his eyes. It seems that very bloody things will happen next. After all, several small cars have been crushed by that black robot before. At the moment, it's not just the crowds and reporters who are watching outside worrying about the Camaro. Steve, who was already extremely nervous in the car, started to feel his heart. Far away, Steve saw the two steel figures fighting. But Lin Yu never breaks. And the speed is getting faster and faster. It's as if it's going to die. When Steve first got in the car, he was taken aback by the speed at which Lin Yu drove. Now the soul is about to be scared away. He had also been in a car before he was frozen. But at that time, the fastest car was only a few dozen miles away. Moreover, Steve has just awakened from the ice, and his brain has not yet fully accepted the world. This speed of almost taking off is really hard for him to accept. Immediately afterwards, when he saw the two Iron Men fighting there, his head couldn't turn completely. Has this world developed to such an extent? There are actually robots? He originally thought that Lin Yu was just here to join in the fun and look from a distance. But, unexpectedly, Lin Yu had no intention of stopping at all. Moreover, there is no slowdown at all. Steve grabbed the armrest on the door with one hand, and grabbed the back of the front seat with the other, shouting in horror, "You! What do you want to do? Are you crazy?" Compared with Steve, Sharon is much calmer. It was not because she was brave, but because she had a strange trust in Lin Yu in her heart. She just felt that Lin Yu would not harm herself. So, her gaze never left Lin Yu's profile. Faced with such a situation, he can still maintain such a calmness. He is indeed the man he is fond of. At this tense moment, a nympho appeared in Sharon's heart. Lin Yu is naturally not stupid, not to commit personal risks. Unless there is strong confidence and sufficient benefits. Just now. Just when I saw Tony fighting Obadiah Stan. In Lin Yu's mind, the system prompt sounded. Ding, your car saw Tony Stark's steel battlesuit technology from a distance, and felt jealous. You want to take a closer look at these magical technologies. When hearing this system prompt, Lin Yu was actually a little dazed. Is your car just jealous? Need a closer look? This is the first time Lin Yu has heard such system prompts. Is direct mutation bad? Even close to the battlefield. Lin Yu frowned slightly, but made a decision in his heart immediately. Seeking wealth and insurance. Moreover, Lin Yu trusts his system extremely. So, go ahead. Then, there was a yellow Camaro rushing to the battlefield. Although Steve in the backseat was still yelling, Lin Yu seemed to turn a deaf ear. Regardless of the plot point or the upcoming mutation of Camaro, Lin Yu didn't want to let it go. Finally, just when Lin Yu drove the car to less than 100 meters from the battlefield, and Obadiah Stan had already noticed Lin Yu. In Lin Yu's mind, the system reminder finally sounded again. Ding. Your car has learned Tony Stark's steel battlesuit technology up close, and improved it across generations, and finally mutated into shape-shifting King Kong Autobot technology. Hear this system prompt. Lin Yu was overjoyed in his heart. This is awesome. In his previous life, Lin Yu, in addition to Marvel movies, also liked the shape-shifting King Kong series. Almost everyone has been brushed many times. The male protagonist in it has a Camaro who can transform into an Autobot, but Lin Yu was envious at the time. Did not expect. One day I can even own a shape-shifting King Kong. And the most important thing is that after this car becomes an Autobot because of the system, it is absolutely loyal to itself. It's like Airha. Cool. Although the hero of the shape-shifting King Kong movie also owns a shape-shifting King Kong car, he will leave at any time. And his own Autobot, just like his pet dog, will never leave him alone. This is where his greatest advantage lies. At this moment, the Camaro driven by Lin Yu is no more than 50 meters away from Obadiah Stan. At this time, an electronic synthesis sound suddenly appeared in Lin Yu's car. Boss, sit down, I'm going to transform. This sudden sound shocked several people. Even Lin Yu was inexplicably sluggish. Unexpectedly, his shape-shifting King Kong could still speak. Dry. Sure enough, I watched more movies. The protagonist in shape-shifting King Kong, the Bumblebee, has been unable to speak because of a broken voice system. Lin Yu thought that his Autobots could not speak either. Lin Yu, who knew the actual situation, was shocked. Not to mention the two of Steve and Sharon. Tonight, Steve's whole body is not good. The world view has been completely subverted. He only slept for 70 years, and he didn't expect that the car could even talk. Hear this voice. The appearance of Sharon's idiot disappeared instantly, and her face showed a dazed expression. Compared to this old antique Steve, she has a better understanding of the current world than most people. But what is the sound that suddenly appeared in the boss's car? Say you want to transform? What the hell is this? Sharon looked at Lin Yu suspiciously. Is it possible that the boss has any other secrets? But at this time, Lin Yu has no spare time to care about others. Bumblebee, show up. In the horrified eyes of Sharon and Steve, Camaro's dashboard suddenly cracked. Immediately afterwards, it's the roof of the car, the floor under the feet, the seat under the buttocks. All began to change wildly. Look from the outside. These two bright yellow little sports cars suddenly jumped up from the ground, and then suddenly shapeshifting in midair. Just a few seconds of effort. When it landed again, Lin Yu's car had become an Autobot who was taller than Obadiah Stan's steel battlesuit and looked more sci-fi. The Autobot stopped in front of Obadiah Stan, about 10 meters away. And Lin Yu and others are sitting in the hands of Autobots. At this moment, the Autobot slowly bent down and placed the three of them on the ground. "Run. What are you waiting for?" Lin Yu yelled first and took the lead and ran away. Steve and Sharon, who had just recovered, also hurriedly followed Lin Yu and ran away. The picture on the battlefield suddenly became extremely strange. Especially for Obadiah Stan, the shock in his heart can no longer be described in words. He just stole Tony's small arc reactor and put on this steel battlesuit. It was the time to be proud. But when he saw the shape-shifting King Kong that was completely transformed from a car on the opposite side, he suddenly felt that what he was wearing was nothing but rubbish. The other party seems to have come out of a science fiction movie. And the steel battlesuit that I am proud of is like a joker. In this contrast, a judgment is made. At this time, Obadiah Stan slowly put down the foot he had just raised. He is also going to squash these two cars, but now he seems even more funny. Not far behind Obadiah Stan, Tony also stopped the attack. His appearance now looks more miserable. The steel battlesuit on his body was scratched everywhere. Although the material of his steel battlesuit is stronger, it is more than a star and a half thinner than the Obadiah Stan battlesuit. At the moment, when he saw the sudden appearance of the shape-shifting King Kong, he was equally bewildered. "Jarvis, show me the origin of this robot," Tony asked solemnly. "If the opponent is also an enemy, then tonight will probably be a nightmare in New York City." Judging from the shape-shifting situation of the other party just now, the technology on that robot is definitely more advanced than the technology on Earth by at least 100 years. It's better not to be the enemy, Tony couldn't help but pray. After a few seconds, Jarvis's voice replied, "Boss, the shape-shifting technology of this robot cannot be ascertained. It is not within the scope of Earth's technology and is expected to exceed the current level of Earth's technology for more than 50 years. According to the license plate number of this car, it has been ascertained that the owner of this car is Lin Yu. He is an orphan and has a goddess. She lives on 58th Street in Manhattan. There is a grocery store under her name. There are shares of Hammer Industries. The ability of Jarvis is really strong. Within a few seconds, the hotel investigated everything on Lin Yu's face. But when it said that Lin Yu held Hammer Industries stock, Tony was in a bad shape. With the emergence of Autobots, the situation on the battlefield instantly became strangely quiet. The people watching the game around them also grew their mouths and their eyes widened in surprise. The face is incredible. They are all in sight of the shape-shifting process of Lin Yu's car. From a distance, it looks like a miracle. A car turned out to be a robot. Moreover, it's so perfect. Let alone its combat effectiveness, just this process of transformation is enough to make everyone amazed. Except for the people at the scene. Countless people who saw this picture on the TV were also amazed. This night is destined to be another unforgettable day. And at the moment, on the battlefield, the Autobots finally spoke first. A voice without emotion came from his mouth. "You wanted to take action against my master just now, unforgivable." The Autobot stretched out a hand and pointed to Obadiah Stan. In its eyes, nothing is more important than the life of its own master. And the guy in front of him, just now wanted to crush himself and his master with one foot. Really looking for death. Hear these words from the Autobots. Tony smiled with joy. Obadiah Stan was taken aback for a moment. Immediately afterwards, I saw that the hand extended by the Autobot suddenly changed its form. After a dazzling shapeshifting, that hand turned into a barrel. Obadiah Stan was startled, ready to do something. But it was too late. Autobots shot extremely fast. A dazzling light lit up in the barrel, and then, a huge cannonball flew towards the steel battlesuit of Obadiah Stan. The speed of the shells is extremely fast. Although the steel battlesuit of Obadiah Stan is very strong, it is weak in terms of speed. Seeing the cannonball came in front of him, but he couldn't avoid it at all. Boom! The violent explosion sounded throughout the sky. After a dazzling fire, Obadiah Stan's figure was instantly knocked away several meters away. The armor on his body has become dented. An arm has also been hanging softly on his side. It seems to be broken. Although his steel battlesuit is made of thick materials and strong defenses, it is still unable to withstand the attacks of Autobots that surpass the Earth's technology. At this moment, Obadiah Stan in the steel battlesuit showed extreme horror on his face. "I can't hold my own steel battlesuit at all." Obadiah Stan panicked completely. The original arrogance in his heart has completely disappeared. At the moment, there is only panic in my heart and the desire to escape. At this moment, under Obadiah Stan's armor suddenly changed its shape and burned into flames. He used the flight function on his steel battlesuit, ready to escape. After seeing this scene, Tony behind him secretly said badly. He didn't expect that the steel battlesuit of Obadiah Stan could even fly. This is troublesome. If you own the newest small arc reactor, you might be able to catch up with the opponent. But now, the energy of this old-fashioned arc reactor in his chest is simply not enough to support his battlesuit for a long flight. At this time, Obadiah Stan's steel battlesuit began to slowly lift off. Obadiah Stan is betting that the robot that the car turns into can't fly. Nor can it be regarded as a pure bet, because he no longer has any backups. His own steel battlesuit is not the opponent of that Autobot at all. He can only choose to escape. If you can run away, even if you take another shot while flying in the sky, it's worth it. After you escape, you can make a comeback. He had secretly transferred his property a long time ago. As long as people are there and possessing the technology of steel battlesuit, they are still a hero. At the moment, on the ground, the weapon that the Autobot's arm turned into was again replaced with the shape of a palm. He has only one shot of this powerful missile, and it really can't fly, because he hasn't learned it yet. However, watching Obadiah Stan controlling the steel battlesuit has begun to lift off. The Autobots are not in any rush. It seems that I don't care at all. Ding, your shape-shifting King Kong has closely learned Tony Stark's steel battlesuit flight technology, and has made innovations, and learned the Autobot-assisted flight technology. Lin Yu, who was hiding in the corner watching the battle, once again sounded the system reminder in his mind. On the battlefield, the Autobot Camaro had turned into suddenly stepped on a pickup truck next to him with one foot. Then, a strange scene happened. That pickup truck suddenly mutated. It quickly changed its shape, transformed into a lot of strange parts, and then climbed up along the Autobot's legs. Finally, staying on the back of the Autobot, it became a huge amount of wings. In the center of that wing, there are two huge amounts of flamethrower. The Autobots learned flight ability in an instant. At the moment, Obadiah Stan has lifted off. His figure gradually got farther and farther away from the ground. And Obadiah Stan in the steel battlesuit gradually showed a smile on his face. There seems to be a feeling of being left behind. But, at the moment, there was a sudden tremor in his heart. A yellow figure suddenly rose into the sky, approaching him quickly. The opponent's flight speed was more than twice faster than his own. No, the flight speed of the two is not the same level at all. The distance between the two is rapidly getting closer. The smile on Obadiah Stan's face gradually solidified. In his line of sight, you can clearly see that the other party has pulled out a long sword glowing with cold light from his back. This robot is still a soldier. Obadiah's heart was completely cold. He tried his best to inject all the energy into the two thrusters under his feet. But the figure of the Autobot is still fast approaching. Finally, in everyone's eyes, they caught up with Obadiah Stan wearing a steel battlesuit. A cold light suddenly lit up. The Autobot waved the long sword in his hand. The knife in the Autobot's hand looks unpretentious, like a very ordinary long knife. It just seems that there is a sci-fi-like feeling in the knife handle and other places. It didn't feel sharp either. But, when the blade of the long knife touched Obadiah Stan's steel battlesuit, suddenly, it cut off. It's like chopped on tofu. The steel battlesuit, which was originally extremely defensive, was instantly cut in half from top to bottom under the knife of the Autobots. Boom. Boom. The sound of two heavy objects falling to the ground frightened the surrounding crowd hurriedly backed up a few steps. This battle is really too fast. From the appearance of the Autobots to the injury of Obadiah Stan. Then he escaped, and then he was split in half with a sword. This process took less than 2 minutes. The battle is over. Already split in half, Obadiah Stan, who fell to the ground, is probably dead and dead. The people watching from a distance, through the camera on the mobile phone, finally saw the human in the armor of the machine. They finally understood that the first two robots were actually humans wearing a steel battlesuit. And the other one, the Autobot that appeared last, was not a human. It's a simple robot. At this moment, the Autobots in the sky finally fell slowly. After landing, the propellers and wings on his back, as if the mission was over, turned into a pile of broken parts and fell to the ground. Standing quietly on the ground, the Autobots did not move. Seems to be waiting for something. At this moment, Lin Yu, who was hiding in the corner with Sharon and Steve, suddenly rang his phone. Lin Yu picked up the phone in confusion. Inside came the familiar electronic synthesis sound. Boss, one has already been solved, but has the other need be taken out at the same time? Lin Yu was taken aback for a moment, and then he realized. My Autobot still makes phone calls. Lin Yu stood on tiptoe, glanced at Iron Man Tony in the distance, and then said, forget it, that's a friendly army for the time being. Obadiah Stan must die. After all, this guy sent someone to assassinate himself. And just now I was going to crush myself in my car with my feet. But Tony Stark let it go. I have to buy his stock to make money. Moreover, Iron Man seems to be his idol. Hearing Lin Yu's order, the Autobots turned into place without hesitation, from the Autobot form to a handsome Camaro again. The gorgeous transformation process once again amazed the people around and the audience watching the live broadcast in front of the TV. Even Tony, who stood in a daze and looked at a loss, was envious of the abnormality. He was completely stunned by this wonderful battle. The movement of shape-shifting King Kong made a huge wave in his heart. In front of the shape-shifting King Kong, the steel battlesuit he was proud of seemed a bit naive. But it is different from Obadiah Stan. Obadiah Stan just stole Tony's design. However, Tony Stark really has this technology. After seeing the shape-shifting King Kong, his brain was as dazzling as fireworks. He has thought of many ideas to make his steel battlesuit stronger. These ideas are all thought of after seeing shape-shifting King Kong. Even Lin Yu didn't know that the appearance of Autobots would affect Tony's steel battlesuit. At this moment, after the Autobots changed back to the form of a car, a dashing drift, galloping out directly. 10 seconds later, he stopped in front of Lin Yu and others who were hiding in the darkness. The lights of the car completely exposed the three figures in everyone's sight. Lin Yu secretly said a bad word in his heart, and pulled Sharon into the car hurriedly. The reaction speed is extremely fast. Immediately afterwards, countless flashes suddenly flashed around. And Steve was not so cautious anymore. He scanned the surrounding circle slowly before getting into the car slowly. But just after a while, Steve was standing next to the Camaro that could turn into an Autobot, with his head up and chest tall, and he was already photographed by countless people. When Lin Yu came in a car before, everyone was attracted by the handsome shapeshifting of the Autobots. Almost no one noticed the appearance of Lin Yu. But this time is different. It's almost like Steve has put up a pose for everyone to take pictures of him. When Steve got in the car, Camaro broke out with a beast-like roar again. It turned into a yellow streamer and galloped out. The speed in the recent past seems to be a bit faster. But Lin Yu sitting in the driver's seat did not even grasp the steering wheel. The foot didn't step on the accelerator either. Just said something and arranged it, and the Autobots set off on their own. It's not too convenient. This is much cooler than the autonomous driving developed by humans. And with the Autobots, Lin Yu is not at all worried about collisions or other things. As a shape-shifting King Kong, if a traffic accident can happen if you drive by yourself, it would be really funny. I'll give you a name. Lin Yu sat in the car comfortably and said casually. Good boss. The Autobots did not refuse to come. Well, you call it Bumblebee, good boss. Lin Yu is not good at naming things, but fortunately, there is no shape-shifting King Kong movie in this world. Giving him the name of Bumblebee, it's not a duplicate name. Ding. Congratulations to the host for participating in the core Marvel plot, Steel Tony vs. Steel Obadiah, 100% participation and 5 plot points. Several people have just left the battlefield. In Lin Yu's mind, the system prompt sounded again. In this plot, I actually got 5 plot points directly. Lin Yu was so happy. After seeing Steve before, Lin Yu's plot point has reached 6 points. And now, it directly became 11 o'clock. It only takes 9 plot points to advance to level 4 from the system. Go to the hospital and see my idol, Ms. Peggy Cat, Lin Yu said excitedly. Lin Yu just finished speaking. The Hornet's speed has increased a bit faster again. He didn't even need the road, turned a corner, and drove naturally in the direction of the hospital where Peggy Cat was. As a shape-shifting King Kong, he is not only strong in combat. He can easily access the internet on the Earth to find the information he needs. When Lin Yu said Peggy Cat's name, Bumblebee instantly found Peggy Cat's location on the internet. But at the moment, in the entire carriage, only Lin Yu looked more natural. Sharon and Steve haven't said a word since they got in the car. They sat in the car quietly, not daring to move their hands and feet, and seemed a little frightened. Definitely, they can't be blamed for this. After all, the two Camaros just turned into a robot, not only capable of talking, but also so powerful. It even cut Obadiah Stan in half with a sword in front of them. And now, they actually sat inside the belly of this robot. This not only makes their brains think about it. If you accidentally kick this car, will it be eaten directly? The more I think about it, the more terrifying it becomes. Thinking about it, the two became even more cramped. In the entire carriage, only Lin Yu felt here and knocked there, as if he was not afraid of death at all. Lin Yu and others left. Tony Stark on the battlefield also quietly left. Only countless onlookers were left behind, unable to turn around for a long time in the cold wind. This robot war finally came to an end, but on the internet, there was an uproar. People in the Marvel world discovered for the first time that there are such high-tech things on the Earth. Forget those two guys wearing steel battlesuits. After all, he was just wearing a suit made of steel. It is completely within the scope of technology acceptable to people. But that Autobot is different. There is no shapeshifting of King Kong movies and comics in this world. So, the appearance of Autobots completely detonated the entire network. Countless netizens started big discussions on the internet. There are countless scientists who have stood up, saying that such technological methods are definitely not what should exist on the Earth. It is the probability of alien technology, almost 99%. Except for the discussion of Autobots. The ownership of this car has also become a hot topic of discussion. Especially the last photo. A man with a tall stature and a firm face stood quietly next to Camaro, who had become an Autobot. Strong male hormones exuded all over his body. In an instant, they captured the hearts of thousands of girls. Immediately, people picked out the identity of this person. He looks exactly the same as the Captain of the United States who had been sacrificed 70 years ago. Oh my. The entire network is boiling. Subsequently, someone picked up an announcement made before the United States Captain Memorial Hall. The content of the announcement is, the body of the Captain of the United States was found frozen in the Arctic Glacier, and the salvage work is now in progress. The United States Captain Memorial Hall is dedicated to commemorate the United States Captain Steve Rogers. Usually, some schools will organize students to visit there, and the flow of people is very small. As for their official website, no one will read it. But the power of netizens is great. When this announcement was posted on the internet, people finally started to discover. The guy standing next to Camaro seems to be the Captain of the United States, Steve. He is still alive. Moreover, they have such terrifying technological power. For a time, the internet was surging. Even S.H.I.E.L.D. and the United States officials have nothing to do with these rumors. As for the other major event that happened that night, very few people paid attention. Although another thing is also great. The New York military base was tragically destroyed, countless tanks and planes were destroyed, hundreds of soldiers were slaughtered, and all this was caused by 3 terrifying green monsters. This matter, if placed elsewhere, will definitely detonate the internet. But under the 2 hot spots of Captain of the United States Resurrection and Shape-Shifting Camaro, it failed to make a splash on the internet. New York military base. After the toss of 3 Airha, the New York military base at the moment has completely turned into a ruin. Compared to the last time, this time it was destroyed more thoroughly. All the vehicles and planes above the military base, not one left, all turned into scrap copper and iron. Regarding Lin Yu's orders, Airha performed well. No toy has been missed, except for the facilities on the ground. The secret underground base hidden in the ground also suffered serious losses. Under Airha's sensitive nose, there is nowhere to hide. But the building below is indeed a bit narrow. As a result, Airha just sprayed a few flames into it at will, and then stopped. But just these few flames were about to kill General Ross. Although the underground base is like a maze, it is intricate. But the flame spitting out of Airha's mouth is really too hot. Although the scorching flame did not directly burn General Rose's body, It also roasted his skin almost to a black charcoal color. Hair and eyebrows were not spared either. With the exception of one more eye than Nick Fury, General Ross at the moment is already infinitely close to Nick Fury. When the support from other military bases arrived, the three airhaws had become one again, and the body had recovered to its original file size, and disappeared into the night along the small woods next to it. Because the New York military base is not too far away from New York City. So, the military wants to find airhaw in the huge New York City. Afterwards, according to statistics, the number of deaths at the New York military base this time has reached a terrifying 200 people. More people were injured. Most of them were scalded by the hot flames. But, after cleaning the battlefield, the military found that the dead 200 people, but only found the bodies of less than 100 people. In other words, the corpses of 100 people were eaten by those three terrifying monsters. After the two have become three, it seems that the appetite has also become larger. Even Lin Yu doesn't know why its stomach can be released by so many people. The next day, Washington, D.C., in an office in the Pentagon. General Ross is receiving inquiries from the top executives of the United States. But, at the moment General Rose's face seemed a little ugly. Because of your mistake, the New York military base has suffered even more losses this time. I will give you 3 minutes to defend. If there is no good reason, then you can retire. Even if General Ross is the true leader of the military, the high-level military will never take lightly for this level of loss. It's not me that caused these losses, but the three monsters and the guy who instigated those monsters. In the face of that kind of power, ordinary soldiers can't stop them, and they can't blame me for all the responsibilities. General Rose said angrily. This time, he really lost his wife and broke down. Lost everyone in the eyes of my colleagues. As for the guy named Lin Yu, we will find S.H.I.E.L.D. to settle the accounts, but we have already investigated, and you provoked him. Above, the high-level cold voice came again. But, this sentence made General Rose a little surprised. He really wanted to kill him first, but, S.H.I.E.L.D.? What does this matter have to do with S.H.I.E.L.D.? General Ross asked. When you provoke him, he just became an honorary consultant of S.H.I.E.L.D. General Rose narrowed his eyes. S.H.I.E.L.D. It turns out that there are also S.H.I.E.L.D. tricks. That nasty black charcoal head is simply living impatiently. The anger in General Rose's heart grew stronger. But, he knows that the most important thing for him now is to keep his identity. Only with greater power can we retaliate against Lin Yu and Nick Fury. At this moment, General Ross slowly took out a USB flash drive from his pocket and handed it to the upper management. Then he said coldly, "My super soldier plan has been completed. There are some information about the super soldier. If the military has an army composed entirely of super soldiers, Millikan will become great again." Millikan became great again. This is a reason that cannot be rejected. General Ross hadn't planned to report this super soldier plan. But, if you don't report now, I'm afraid you won't be able to keep your power. After reading the information on the USB flash drive, the high-level military officials showed surprises on their faces. The USB flash drive clearly explained all the information about the super soldier that General Ross had successfully researched. Every one of those super soldiers with greenish skin is extremely strong. If you really have an army composed entirely of such soldiers, there will be no army in the world that can compete with the United States military. This is a temptation of huge amounts of. After a brief discussion among the military's senior officials. Finally, the person in the center spoke slowly. Okay, but you only have one chance, you can only succeed and not fail. Lin Yu did not care too much about the life and death of General Ross. A small military general, for Lin Yu now, is not worth paying too much attention to. Last night, after the Autobots killed Obadiah Stan with a single sword, Lin Yu took Sharon and Steve to the hospital. In the hospital, Lin Yu naturally gained Peggy Cat's plot points easily. As for idols, Sharon didn't see any excitement when Lin Yu saw his aunt anyway. After meeting, Lin Yu quietly left with Sharon. Only Steve, who is a little bewildered, is left with his girlfriend who has been older than him for several reincarnations. This time out, Lin Yu gained a lot. At the moment's Lin Yu. There are already two very powerful third-level mutants around him. One is the three-headed dog in the green hell that can become three. The other is the bumblebee that just killed Obadiah Stan easily. In Lin Yu's eyes, a line of small print has also appeared above this Camaro. Name. Car Variation Direction. Autobot Technology. Variation Level. Third Order Anomaly. An Autobot alone is not very powerful. Having a shape-shifting King Kong team and obtaining the source of fire is the strongest state of shape-shifting King Kong. Looking at the small print above his Camaro, Lin Yu was lost in thought. Perhaps I should hurry up and make some money, and then buy a few more cars. Maybe someday a shape-shifting King Kong team will come out. But if you want to buy so many cars, it is estimated that you have to change to a big house first. There is only a small garage next to my small grocery store, so I can't leave so many cars. Definitely, there is one more important question. That is, will Wanda, the little money fan, pay for it? Early morning. Lin Yu shouted to Sharon, who had just arrived, and was about to go out again. Because today there is one more important thing. That is, the press conference of Stark Industries. Yesterday's battle, after all, appeared in the Stark Industrial Building, which had a great impact on society. As a conscientious weapons manufacturer, we must hold a press conference to express our attitude. And this conference, for Lin Yu, is another good opportunity to get plot points. As for why I brought Sharon. Naturally, Sharon, the identity of the S.H.I.E.L.D. high-level agent, can provide Lin Yu with a lot of convenience. But Wanda expressed great dissatisfaction with Lin Yu taking Sharon out for 2 consecutive days. But after all, Sharon had just rescued her brother from the killer's hands. Wanda is not good at Sharon. Then he pointed the finger at Lin Yu. Brother, why do you always take Sharon out instead of me? Are you disgusting me? Wanda pouted and said angrily. The thing she fears most is that Lin Yu is no longer as good to her as before. When in the orphanage, Wanda and Lin Yu were very close. In Wanda's heart, Lin Yu is the only relative. So, as long as Lin Yu's attitude towards her changes a little, she can feel it. Hearing Wanda's words, Lin Yu's heart trembled. The little girl is going crazy again. The fire must be put out before she runs away. Lin Yu scratched his head, smiled honestly, and said, actually, I want to take you there too, but the business in our shop has been a bit good lately. There are hundreds or thousands of dollars a day. Who will make money if you go out? What about the money? Wanda frowned slightly. It seems that what my brother said is quite reasonable. But then I thought, it's not right. Then you don't want to go. Help me in the store. Wanda pouted again. Lin Yu was a bit big head for a while, but lived with Wanda for so long. Nothing else. Can you coax children? Lin Yu hurriedly took out his mobile phone from his pocket, opened the stock trading software, and shook it in front of Wanda. Then he said, look, I'm not going out to make money for you. The shares of Hanmer Industries I bought before have not risen much. I will check Stark Industries so I can decide whether to buy their stocks. Lin Yu's excuse is seamless. Even Wanda couldn't fault it. Moreover, as long as she can make money, she will probably consider selling Lin Yu. Okay. Then you guys will come back soon. Wanda thought for a while, and finally put the dollar position in front of Lin Yu. Hearing Wanda's consent, Lin Yu's face was overjoyed. He hurriedly put the glasses he was holding onto his face, then grabbed Sharon's hand and ran to the door. The press conference of Stark Industries is about to begin, and Lin Yu is a little anxious. Did not think too much. But Lin Yu pulled Sharon and ran out of the door when he heard Wanda's roar in the grocery store. Let me go. It's not just the roar. Lin Yu even saw the red light shining in the grocery store from the corner of his eye. Lin Yu's small heart trembled suddenly. This little girl is going crazy. Scarlet Witch's ability is all used. Lin Yu was so scared that he didn't even turn his head back, and hurriedly got into the car. Without Lin Yu's fire, the Hornet had already uttered a fierce roar and shot out. Sarong, who was sitting in the co-pilot, also seemed to have lingering fears. He patted her chest and asked softly, Boss, are you sure Wanda won't tear down the grocery store? Lin Yu looked at Sharon and helped his glasses, his mood slowly calmed down. No, in her eyes, my status is not as good as a profitable grocery store. When Lin Yu and Sharon walked into the press conference, Tony Stark was on the podium, looking at the note in his hand, reading the speech written by Colonel Rhodes. But at the moment Tony was obviously absent-minded. Colonel Rhodes, who was standing by, hurried to Tony's ear and reminded, Don't talk nonsense, just read it from the manuscript. Tony nodded slightly at Colonel Rhodes, but he couldn't control his mouth more and more, and he was a little excited. The truth is, the corners of Tony's mouth gradually cocked. I am Iron Man. Wow. The entire venue was completely messed up. Colonel Rhodes' face next to Tony turned black. Pepper Potts, who was standing at the entrance of the venue, also widened his eyes. Unexpectedly, Tony would admit his identity on the spot. As the audience remembered, they all stood up, raised the microphone in their hands, and asked in a mess. Compared to those high-sounding speeches, what they most want to hear is this kind of explosive news. During this period, many major events have happened in New York. And those reporters who reported in the first time have gained great benefits. Obviously, the news this time is even more explosive than the previous chaos. The boss of Starka Industries, the largest weapons manufacturer in the country, admitted at a press conference that he is Iron Man. Oh my. This world is crazy. Iron Man. This name is too domineering. Is Iron Man the domineering yellow robot last night? A trainee reporter hurriedly asked his mentor. On the side, a middle-aged reporter said without looking back, definitely is that robot. Is it possible that someone else would dare to call such a domineering name? After the trainee reporter heard the tutor's answer, his eyes became brighter and brighter. After watching the news yesterday, he was already a fan of that yellow robot. That handsome transformation, powerful combat power, and upright posture almost made him crazy. It turned out that this robot was made by Tony Stark. In an instant, Tony also became the idol of this trainee reporter. Mr. Stark, how did you make such a powerful mecha? Mr. Stark, how did you get such advanced technology? Mr. Stark, with such a powerful force, what would you use it for? Mr. Stark. Below the venue, reporters shouted hysterically. I hope Tony Stark can answer their own questions first. On the podium, Tony smiled and seemed to enjoy this world-renowned moment. He was a person who didn't like Loki since he was a child. No matter what he does, he likes to have a group of people around him. Definitely. It would be even better if I could compliment it a little bit. Subsequently, Tony ignored his old friend Colonel Rod's obstruction, and directly clicked on a reporter, and then said, "You come to ask." This reporter happened to be the craziest intern reporter just called. Being spotted by Tony, the trainee reporter was overjoyed. Hurriedly asked loudly, "Mr. Stark, I am your fan." Hearing the first words of the trainee reporter, Tony showed a happy expression on his face. His character just likes to be public. I also enjoy the feeling of being regarded as an idol. Tony smiled slightly and gave the trainee reporter an encouraging look. Ruzi can teach. The trainee reporter is getting more excited. Mr. Stark, what I want to ask is, how did you control that shape-shifting car robot in the battle yesterday? Oh no, it's Iron Man. How did you control that yellow Iron Man car? Upon hearing this question, the reporters below also hurriedly pricked up their ears and opened their eyes wide. It seems that Tony Stark's answer is extremely anticipated. They are also very curious about how the Autobots were controlled last night. Seeing how the robot transformed yesterday, Tony Stark shouldn't be in the robot's body. He estimated that something was remotely operated at a distance. But, after hearing the question from the trainee reporter, Tony's face suddenly changed when he was standing on the podium. Shape-shifting car robot. Iron Man car? What the hell is this? How do you feel that this guy is not talking about himself? Tony's brows gradually frowned. This seems a bit misunderstanding. What I said was not the Autobot who killed Obadiah Stane in the end. But at the very beginning, on the battlefield, he killed the Iron Man who was pissing off Obadiah. Tony suddenly felt a bit panicked. Ding! Congratulations to the host for participating in the General Story Iron Man official debut press conference and earning 2 plot points. Lin Yu hid in the corner, watching Tony's performance quietly. In his mind, the system reminder finally sounded. 2 plot points, get it? In addition to the previous plot points, at the moment Lin Yu, the plot point has reached 13 points. It's not too far to advance to the 4-level system. But, when Lin Yu was about to leave, he heard the trainee reporter's question. He walked to the body outside the door and gave a sudden stop. A strange smile appeared on his face. Now, Tony doesn't seem to be able to step down. Lin Yu took Sharon's hand, turned and walked back. There seems to be a good show, it started. Lin Yu can clearly see the bitter expression on Tony's face. Nor can we blame the reporters for misunderstanding. The battle just ended yesterday, and Tony announced that he was Iron Man early this morning. But the most eye-catching thing last night was not Tony wearing a steel battlesuit, but his own Bumblebee, although Sharon on the side wondered why Lin Yu left but came back. But at the moment, she couldn't control so much. I don't know if Lin Yu has forgotten, or deliberately, holding his own hand, he has not let go. Sharon blushed and didn't hear a word during the press conference. A few days later, Nick Fury, who had been stunned by the photo of Steve in the Hornet, suddenly received a report from his subordinates. In a secret base of S.H.I.E.L.D., Tesseract, which is being studied by Doctor of Astronomy and Dr. Eric, Thor's old friend, suddenly appeared abnormal. It seems that it was activated by something. Nick Fury, who received the report, hurried to this secret base by helicopter. Tesseract's research has been going on for a long time. Through researching Tesseract, S.H.I.E.L.D. has begun to make the second stage of powerful weapons and equipment, in order to deal with various threats from alien planets. But did not expect. Just when Nick Fury came here, Tesseract suddenly shot a light. In the S.H.I.E.L.D. underground base, a small portal was formed. After a few seconds, the portal slowly dissipated. On the ground, a handheld scepter appeared, like a guy who had just participated in a fancy dress party. Loki finally came to the Earth, and after controlling Hawkeye Barton, Dr. Eric, and several S.H.I.E.L.D. agents with the Mind Scepter in his hand, he left. S.H.I.E.L.D. suffered heavy losses. The entire base collapsed. Dozens of S.H.I.E.L.D. staff were buried underground. Even the core high-level agent Hill almost killed you. For a while, S.H.I.E.L.D. was screaming. Faced with Loki's arrival, Nick Fury decisively issued an order to search the world for the whereabouts of Loki's Tesseract. At the same time, Nick Fury also reported this incident to the World Security Council. The main duty of the World Security Council was originally established to supervise S.H.I.E.L.D. At the moment, Pierce has not yet become a minister of the World Security Council. In a secret meeting room of the S.H.I.E.L.D. space carrier, on several big screens, there is a director of the World Security Council. At the moment, one of the directors said, "So you should do your best to develop the second stage weapon, it is precisely for this situation." Before he finished speaking, Nick Fury interrupted. "The research on the second phase of weapons has not been completed, but the enemy has arrived. We need an emergency team," Nick Fury said calmly. Several members of the World Security Council said, "The Avengers project has been suspended. Moreover, we have seen that list. You have a first-class secret agent organization in your hands, but are you going to hand over the fate of mankind to a group of freaks? On the list, there is even the owner of the grocery store who attacked the New York military base. Do you think he is qualified to participate in this kind of operation to save all mankind?" Speaking of Lin Yu, Nick Fury was suddenly excited. "You think that people are willing to save the world? I worked hard to get him to agree to join Avengers. You don't even know how strong his true power is, just command here blindly. The Earth will be destroyed in the hands of you guys sooner or later." Nick Fury was extremely angry. These guys sit in the office every day and don't know what's going on. They only know to make trouble for themselves. Regarding the list of Avengers members, Nick Fury has already drawn up. There are Black Widow Natasha Romanoff, Hawkeye Barton, Captain Steve of the United States, Dr. Bruce Banner the Hulk, Iron Man Tony Stark, and even Thor of Asgard can be regarded as half uncertain foreign aid. But these people are scumbags in front of Lin Yu. Of the Avengers, only Lin Yu is the most important. Because Nick Fury knows the power Lin Yu can control. Although he originally looked like a thin boy, no matter whether it was the Airha, the car, or his little sister Wanda, he was a terrifying force. Nick Fury slammed the door and walked straight out of the meeting room. Since they disagree, then I don't bother to pay attention to them. Regardless of what messes will happen in the future, the most important thing is to get through this crisis first. And if you want to survive this crisis, you must gather these powerful forces. Hill, please inform Lin Yu and tell him to come as soon as possible," Nick Fury said to the Hill agent next to him. Hill was taken aback for a moment, and then asked, "Boss, isn't Sharon by his side? Why don't you ask Sharon to speak to him directly?" Hearing Sharon's name, Nick Fury sighed slightly and said, "Sharon, I am already Lin Yu's person. What about Phil Coulson and Natasha Romanoff?" Although Hill didn't quite understand what Chief Fury meant, he didn't continue to ask Sharon about it, but asked the other two people. Because, generally, this kind of task is not done by herself, so she will ask. Hill's responsibilities are mainly internal, and Natasha Romanoff and Phil Coulson are the main agents that perform tasks outside. But hear Hill's question. Nick Fury sighed again, and said, "The last time they went. Forget it, don't ask, you can go if you ask you to go." Under the arrangement of Nick Fury, S.H.I.E.L.D. and many high-level agents began to contact Avengers members that they had decided on. Natasha Romanoff went to Kolkata to visit Dr. Bruce Banner, who had been monitored by S.H.I.E.L.D. Phil Coulson went to Stark Industrial Building and invited Tony Stark, who had declared himself to be Iron Man. Nick Fury himself went to chat with the Captain of the United States. At the moment, the Captain of the United States has gradually adapted to his current life. It just seemed a little empty. He was originally a soldier, and he didn't have much opinion on the work arrangements of his superiors. As for Lin Yu, Hill agent hesitation repeatedly, or went to the grocery store at Manhattan Avenue alone. She actually refused in her heart. After all, even after Natasha Romanoff and Phil Coulson went to the store, they seemed a little nervous. Can I be spared? Hill agent is not sure. But she could not violate the chief's order. So she was well prepared. The words that I should have said are thoroughly cooked by memorizing. When I got there, I didn't say anything extra. After saying what you want to express, leave quickly. Resolutely don't talk much, don't stay too much. Ding. Congratulations to Speed for meeting the Hill agent, the core supporting role in the Marvel world. You will be rewarded with 1 plot point. As soon as Hill walked into the door of the grocery store, Lin Yu received the system prompt. Lin Yu was slightly taken aback while playing the game while lying prone in front of the computer screen. Does Nick Fury know his hobby? Why do you always send your female agent to your side? Is it possible that you want to use a gentle town strategy to make yourself surrender to him? Lin Yu frowned slightly. This trick, I am afraid I really can't stand it. Thinking of this, Lin Yu hurriedly stopped the game in his hand, then took out his glasses from his jacket pocket and put them on his face. Then stepped out from behind the bar and greeted him. At this time, it was still early in the morning, and the customers had not yet begun to come. So the whole shop was deserted. Hill agent walked into the grocery store, looked around, and looked at the environment in the grocery store. As a high-level agent, she will be familiar with the on-site environment wherever she goes. Although this mission is not a combat mission, he has heard too much about Lin Yu during this period. Nothing happened to Lin Yu as normal. This also made her very vigilant. Lin Yu walked over, stretched out a hand at Hill, and said with a smile, "Isn't this Chief Fury's favorite general, Maria Hill? Welcome, welcome." Hill agent frowned slightly. You even know my name? As soon as Hill said what he said, he hurriedly covered his mouth. I almost forgot. I can't talk nonsense at the moment. Lin Yu's hand has reached out in front of Hill. Although she was very reluctant, she could only reach out and hold Lin Yu together. Click to stop. I'm here this time. Hill was ready to get straight to the subject. But Lin Yu is not a polite person. It's really out of order for someone to come here for the first time without hiring Roar. Sharon, pour a cup of tea for the guests, Lin Yu shouted to the upstairs. As a Chinese, tea is of course indispensable to entertain guests. But hear what Lin Yu said. Hill was taken aback again. Sharon? I came so early, is Sharon already at work at this time? Not long after Lin Yu's voice fell, Sharon, with a bun on his head and an apron, walked down from the second floor with a cup of tea. Seeing it turned out to be an old friend Hill agent, a gentle smile appeared on his face. But Hill's expression is a bit exaggerated. What? Sharon is wearing an apron. How do you look like a housewife? Sharon, what were you doing just now? Hill agent asked dumbfounded. Passing the water glass in her hand to Hill, who was sluggish, Sharon smiled and said openly, I'm cooking for the boss, otherwise what to eat in the morning. At this time, Hill seems to have forgotten his decision not to talk nonsense. Some dumbfounded asked, aren't you his assistant? Why are you still in charge of cooking? Sharon's current behavior, as well as her dress, have completely exceeded Hill's imagination. This S.H.I.E.L.D. high-level agent who worked with him turned out to be like this. The sun is coming out from the west. Since I am an assistant, I definitely did everything. Sharon made no secret of her satisfaction with her current job. But it's not the time to go to work yet, Hill asked weakly again. Even when S.H.I.E.L.D. goes to work, he won't go to work so early. I came early to avoid the time period when the customers are relatively large. At this moment, Lin Yu suddenly took the conversation. Oh, in order to be able to work better, Sharon now lives here. ******* Hill's brain is blank. Looking at this familiar and unfamiliar colleague in front of me. She has no idea what to say. This Lin Yu is really weird. This grocery store is really not where normal people should come. Hill carefully put the tea in his hand on the table. She dare not drink from here. Mr. Lin. Oh no, Counselor Lin. This time I came because the director wanted to invite you to the S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters to discuss how to deal with alien invaders. This is information about the intruder Loki and Tesseract, you can take a look first. Hill handed the prepared materials in front of Lin Yu. Lin Yu took it naturally. But he didn't rush to read the text on the information. Regarding Loki and Tesseract, I am afraid that S.H.I.E.L.D. does not know much about it. Just when Hill was about to say goodbye, upstairs, another woman's voice came. Wearing the same apron as Sharon, Wanda walked down the stairs with breakfast. Lin Yu didn't look back, knowing that the two women finally had breakfast ready. He smiled at Hill and said, "Stay and have breakfast before leaving." Hear Lin Yu's invitation. Hill's head hurriedly shook like a rattle. He waved his hands hurriedly and said, No, I have something to do. There is my phone number on this card. If you have time, call me and I will pick you up again. Hill pulled out a black business card from his pocket. There is not much text on the business card. There is only a sign of S.H.I.E.L.D. and a telephone number. She should have picked up Lin Yu this time, but she has no idea what to say now. Just want to quickly escape from this weird place. What if I stay here for a long time and become like Sharon? Lin Yu smiled slightly and took the business card with his polite hands. Then, take off the glasses, turned to Wanda, who had just come down from the stairs. He said, I will introduce you. This is the S.H.I.E.L.D. high-level agent, Sharon's colleague, Miss Hill. Hill is suffering in his heart now. She wanted to leave this weird place as soon as possible. But Wanda hastily put down the plate in her hand and stretched out her hand. Hill can only reach out and hold Wanda together. At this moment, Wanda suddenly took Hill's hand and said with a smile, Look, you don't even have a business card holder. It's so inconvenient. It just happens that our store has a new batch of beautiful business card holders. I will show you it. Wanda's business, that is quite skilled. When Hill heard Wanda's words, he wanted to hurriedly refuse. What business card holder? I brought this business card specially for Lin Yu's visit. An agent of my own, where do I usually bring such things as business cards? Not to mention the business card holder, But then think again. Indeed, I seem to be missing a business card holder. Although there are not many opportunities to use business cards. However, it is not impossible to buy one prepared. We're all at the grocery store, can't you just buy one by the way? Hill frowned, and slowly said, It's okay to take a look. Hill eventually left by himself. Lin Yu didn't seem to be anxious about going to the S.H.I.E.L.D. space carrier. Lin Yu is naturally not in a hurry, because Lin Yu, who is familiar with Marvel's plot, knows that if he goes now, he will definitely not see everyone. It's better to wait for everyone from Avengers and Loki to get together, and then go. By the time, the system is estimated to be able to upgrade. And at the moment, on the S.H.I.E.L.D. space carrier, Dr. Bruce Banner, Tony Stark, Natasha Romanoff, Steve are all present. Except for Hawkeye and Lin Yu, basically Avengers members have all gathered. As for Thor, Nick Fury has not yet considered him a member of Avengers. In the main control room of the space carrier, seeing that Hill agent came back by himself without bringing Lin Yu, Nick Fury frowned and asked, Hill, what's the situation with you? Where is Consultant Lin? On Hill's road, the most scared thing is that the chief asks himself. Because she really couldn't think of an explanation. Director, I have already made it clear to Consultant Lin, and will call me when he wants to come, and I will pick him up again. Hearing Hill agent's answer, Nick Fury frowned slightly. But it was also expected. This Lin Yu has been in contact with him several times. He is not someone who can be moved casually. I hope he can appear in time when there is a real war. Nick Fury could only pray silently in his heart. But at this moment, Nick Fury seemed to see Hill hesitating and stopping. There seems to be something I want to tell myself. What else? Nick Fury asked. There was a trace of struggle on Hill's face. She didn't know if she should tell the director these things at this time. But Sharon is not only his colleague, the relationship between the two is also the best in S.H.I.E.L.D. She didn't want her friend to be like this. However, in such an emergency, it seems a bit out of date to say these things. If you have something to say quickly, don't hesitate. Nick Fury urged again. He felt that Hill seemed a little weird today. Hearing the director's urging, Hill finally made up his mind and said, The director, I think I'd better call Sharon back, she's too big and small to use in that grocery store. Nick Fury was taken aback for a moment. It turned out that Hill was talking about Sharon's problem. In fact, Nick Fury doesn't want Sharon to be Lin Yu's assistant either. But I am afraid it will be a little difficult to get people back. Counselor Lin is very strong, and being an assistant to him is not an overkill, Nick Fury comforted. But Hill looked anxious. But Sharon is almost becoming a housewife now, and he has to help consultant Lin cook there. Hill smiled bitterly and told what he saw. What? Cooking. Nick Fury was stunned. One of the most elite agents of his own is actually used for cooking. This meow is really overkill, and Hill agent is even a little hard to tell. Moreover, Sharon already lives with consultant Lin now. After saying this, Hill suddenly seemed to lose his strength. She really didn't understand. She had only been an assistant for a few days. How could she sleep with consultant Lin? What? They all slept together. Nick Fury was completely stunned. Almost everyone in the control room could hear this voice. Even Dr. Banner and Tony, who were discussing how to find Tesseract, turned their heads and looked at Nick Fury. Nick Fury hurriedly covered his mouth. Who slept with whom? Tony asked casually, not too much of a problem. Nick Fury's face suddenly pulled down. My old face, Shield's face, are all lost. In his heart, there seemed to be 10,000 grass and mud horses galloping past. Why did I agree to let Sharon be his assistant in the first place? It's good now. I'm afraid that Sharon is completely lost now. At the moment, in the grocery store, Lin Yu sneezed suddenly. He muttered to himself. Who was talking about himself? I sneezed all morning. It didn't take long before Lin Yu's voice fell. Sharon handed a glass of boiling water to Lin Yu's eyes. She looked at Lin Yu, and she seemed to have some different feelings faintly. She has become like this since Lin Yu took her hand that time. I don't know if it is the influence of the system, or I really like Lin Yu. But to say that sleeping together is indeed a bit misunderstanding. Although Sharon lives here now, she sleeps in the same room with Wanda. It was also because the two women lived together that there seemed to be strangely no hostility between them. It seems that the relationship has become intimate. It's as if the two reached a consensus. Lin Yu had no knowledge of this. He still regards Wanda as his sister and Sharon as his assistant. Life can be considered at ease, at the moment. In an underground secret base, Loki is taking Hawkeye and Dr. Eric, who are under his control, and is studying the next action. After being controlled by the psychic scepter, Eric and Barton seem to have completely changed. Their thinking has completely changed, and at the moment, Dr. Eric is studying how to build a large portal through Tesseract. Hawkeye Barton is discussing with Loki how to deal with Avengers. As an old agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. and an established member of Avengers, Barton is very familiar with everything about S.H.I.E.L.D. For those Avengers members, they are also very familiar. It's very simple to make them overwhelmed. It is enough to irritate the big guy. Barton's eyes glowed with blue light, and the corners of his mouth smiled softly. As long as Dr. Banner becomes the Hulk, he cannot completely control himself. By the time, it is estimated that the entire S.H.I.E.L.D. space carrier will be destroyed by him. Hearing Barton's words, a weird smile appeared on Loki's face. Speaking of irritating others, I am best at it. Talk about the other members, how are they? Loki asked. Although he doesn't care too much about the strength of these Earthlings, this operation must ensure success. He must know all the information of his enemy. And Barton is very familiar with them. A captain of the United States, Steve, had been injected with serum. He was the only successful person in the United States military's super soldier program more than 70 years ago. A playboy, rich second generation, with steel battlesuit technology, able to use all kinds of thermal weapons, is not difficult to deal with. Then Dr. Bruce Banner, his body mutated after being irradiated with gamma rays. When he is angry, he will turn into a green monster. He is very strong, but his mind is simple. It is no problem if he doesn't fight him on the side. Natasha Romanoff, a super agent. There is also a consultant named Lin Yu, who seems to be an ordinary person. Ordinary people? Loki asked suspiciously. Among these freaks, there is still an ordinary person? Barton nodded, and then said, this is the only member I haven't seen. It's very mysterious, but I have read his information. He was originally just an ordinary person. However, there are always strange things around him, such as his pet dog and his car. Before Barton finished the introduction, he was interrupted by Loki's wave. An ordinary person, it doesn't matter. The strongest is the strongest person, and those who rely on external forces are rubbish. Then focus on dealing with that big guy. In Loki's heart, he had gradually thought of a perfect plan. That night, Loki swaggered into the public eye. And what is even more strange is that he was easily caught by Stark and Steve. Although Thor's appearance in the middle caused some changes. But in the end Loki was captured on the space carrier of S.H.I.E.L.D. In addition, he was put in a prison, specially prepared for Dr. Banner. S.H.I.E.L.D. It was strange that everyone at S.H.I.E.L.D. felt that Loki was caught so easily, but they didn't take it too seriously. After all, people have caught it. The Avengers at the moment have not guessed what Loki's plan is. And when Lin Yu learned the news that Loki was caught, it was already the next morning. Looking at the picture being broadcast in the news, Lin Yu finally showed the long-awaited smile on his face. The personnel have been gathered, and it seems it's time for him to play. If you are right, after this trip, your system should be able to advance to level 4. Lin Yu and the two girls made a move to Roar, and got into the car with Erha. This time, Lin Yu is not going to take Sharon. After all, on that space carrier, it doesn't seem to be very peaceful. 23. After such a long time together, Lin Yu had already regarded Sharon as his own. Coupled with the blessing of the system, Sharon has long since run away. Lin Yu still cares very much about her own people, so she naturally won't let her take risks anymore. Definitely. If it wasn't for upgrading the system, and Lin Yu's character, he would never go to such a dangerous place. But this time, Lin Yu has a reason to go in person. For this trip, Lin Yu is also very well prepared. The two strongest combat powers around him, Bumblebee and Erha, Lin Yu are all with him. But Lin Yu did not call the phone number left by the Hill agent. Instead, prepare and drive straight up. After getting in the car, Lin Yu took a trip to his seat and directly ordered the Hornet. Find out if there is a space carrier in the sky, and then think of a way to get on it. In the past few days after these two Camaros became Autobots, Lin Yu has learned about many of its functions. As the only shape-shifting King Kong in the world, the strength and level of technology of the Hornet are much stronger than the Autobots in previous movies. First of all, the Hornet has Autobot-assisted flight technology. Secondly, the Bumblebee can easily invade most of the electronic devices on the Earth. In other words, what Bumblebee wants to know is nothing on Earth that can hide him. Although the space carrier of S.H.I.E.L.D. has a powerful stealth ability. However, it could not withstand the detection of the Hornet at all. Less than a minute. The Hornet has already locked the position of the S.H.I.E.L.D. space carrier in the sky. Immediately afterwards, the Hornet made a magnificent drift, swiftly galloping towards the position of the space carrier. After a few minutes, just below the S.H.I.E.L.D. space carrier, the Hornet directly hit a small red sports car on the side of the road. Then, in full view, the red sports car instantly began to break down into countless parts. It was like the pickup truck when Obadiah was killed that day. However, something different this time is that the Hornet did not transform. The sports car was turned into countless parts and directly covered on the body of the Hornet. 10 seconds later, 2 miniature Red Wings appeared on the body of the Hornet. And behind and under its body, there are also 6 huge amounts of jetting devices. Subsequently, Lin Yu gave an order. The Bumblebee rose to the sky in an instant. On the streets of New York, countless pedestrians have seen this magical scene. A yellow Camaro directly swallowed another sports car on the side of the road, and then turned into a car that can fly. This scene is just like in a science fiction movie. The car really flies to the sky. Moreover, it is extremely fast. Subsequently, people suddenly remembered, isn't this car the Camaro who turned into an Autobot that day? After recalling the scene that day, people's mood gradually calmed down a lot. You can transform into an Autobot, and it's not that strange to become a speeding car. After a few minutes, in the main control room of the S.H.I.E.L.D. space carrier, an alarm sounded suddenly. An agent sitting in front of a computer hurriedly reported to Nick Fury. Chief, an unknown flight object suddenly took off from the ground and is quickly approaching the mothership. Nick Fury's face changed. At this time, could someone come and prepare to save Loki? Nick Fury's face turned cold. Without playing any tricks, Roar, he approached S.H.I.E.L.D.'s space carrier directly. This behavior can almost be regarded as a declaration of war. And if it is a force on Earth, even Chi-Jong's military, when approaching the S.H.I.E.L.D. space carrier, they must call Roar. Knock it down for me, Nick Fury said coldly. This space carrier is the most valuable asset of S.H.I.E.L.D. Moreover, there are thousands of S.H.I.E.L.D. elite agents on the space carrier. No accidents are allowed. This space carrier, which is piloted and operated by an agent completely trained by S.H.I.E.L.D., can execute commands extremely fast. In less than 3 seconds, the weapon system had locked the target. Director, the target has been locked. Please order whether to fire. The S.H.I.E.L.D. agent sitting on the console solemnly reported. The mood of this agent is a little bit excited. If it does fire, this will be the first attack since the launch of this space carrier. This is a great honor. The honor enough to write into your resume. One of the agent's hands has opened the cover that protects the red button. His hand trembled slightly. Just press the red button and the weapon system will be activated. No matter what it is that dared to approach this space carrier, it will be instantly smashed into a sieve. At the moment, in the main control room of the space carrier, the Avengers members, and even Thor, all looked at Nick Fury. They are also quietly waiting for Director Fury's order. Fire. Nick Fury gave the order to attack without hesitation. At this moment, his figure looked extremely domineering. No matter who is here, you can't provoke the majesty of S.H.I.E.L.D. Nick Fury gave an order. The agent also instantly pressed the red button. In the entire general control room, everyone was holding their breath, waiting for the result of the attack. 1 second. 2 seconds. 3 seconds. The agent sitting in front of the console suddenly stared at the monitor in front of him. Above, a few big characters suddenly appeared. Weapon system failed. What's going on? How can the weapon system fail? Several agents hurriedly checked on the console in front of them. It shouldn't be. This space carrier has been tested many times before being used. This includes several weapon system tests. The test is always good. Why did it suddenly fail after flying to the sky? At the moment, not only the agent saw that row of characters. Nick Fury and a group of Avengers members have seen them all. Tony, who knows human weapons best, hurriedly gave a best solution. If it fails, restart it soon. Hear Tony's words. The people in the entire control room all turned their heads to look at the largest weapons manufacturer in all of America. Yes. Why didn't we expect it? If it fails, restarting is the best way. Nick Fury hurriedly ordered. Then restart quickly. The agent in front hurriedly pressed the restart button in a panic. But what surprised him was, after restarting, nothing happens. What's the situation? The agent pressed the restart button again. Still nothing happens. The suggestion of this military industry tycoon is not easy to use. The agent turned his head with horror on his face and looked at S.H.I.E.L.D. director Nick Fury. And at the moment, on another computer screen, on the radar showing the location of the target, it has been shown that the target is very close to the space carrier. At this time, the space carrier seemed to be stripped of something. There was no resistance at all ability. If the other party really wants to be unfavorable to S.H.I.E.L.D., then the people on this space carrier are in danger. At the moment, the height of the space carrier flight has reached an altitude of nearly 9 kilometers. It is very difficult for ordinary humans to suck roar in this environment, let alone want to organize an effective counterattack. It is estimated that these elite agents just walked onto the deck and died in a hurry. At this moment, the only ones who can help everyone through the storm are Tony Stark and Thor. One of them has a steel battlesuit that can help flight and roar suck. One is originally a god, and it can live a long time without roar. Like Nick Fury's idea, all the agents in the master control room looked at Tony and Thor. They, as if they haven't acted, have become the saviors of the people on this space carrier. Thor's reaction was a little slower, but Tony had already turned around and headed to his locker room. On this space carrier, it has been equipped with a room dedicated to storing his steel battlesuit. As he walked, a smile appeared at the corner of Tony's mouth. This is the time Tony enjoys the most, when everyone pays attention to it and is hoped by people. Let me save you. Tony's mood started to get excited. However, just then, most people's eyes were on Tony's upright posture. The agent sitting in front of the console suddenly surprised roar and said, "Director, look." Nick Fury hurriedly turned his head and looked at the front screen. At the moment, on the display, a row of small print suddenly appeared. "Don't be nervous, I'm already on the deck." What? Nick Fury was surprised, hastily looked out the window. At the same time, in the main control room, all the screens showed that row of small characters. All the agents also hurriedly looked at the deck outside the window. Finally, after a few seconds, a yellow figure suddenly passed through the clouds from below and appeared in people's field of vision. It was a small yellow sports car, and its model and brand could be easily seen from the front of the car. Chevrolet Camaro. But the rear of this small sports car is completely different from ordinary cars. There are 2 small red wings on both sides of its body. What's even more exaggerated is that at the rear and underneath of its car, there are several huge amounts of ejectors, which are spraying dazzling flames. It is precisely because of these jets that the car flew directly onto the space carrier. But After seeing this small sports car, the tension in everyone's heart suddenly calmed down a lot. At least it should not be the enemy. Almost all S.H.I.E.L.D. employees know this yellow Camaro. Because, a few days ago, the whole S.H.I.E.L.D. was busy trying to distinguish the relationship between the Captain of the United States and this car. Just because the Captain of the United States was accidentally taken a pose-like photo. So, this car, in the entire S.H.I.E.L.D., can be said to be very well known. As for the senior S.H.I.E.L.D. such as Nick Fury and Phil Coulson, it is clearer who owns this car. Stark shouted weakly. Tony Stark didn't even turn his head back, still keeping his head upright, and said proudly, "Don't worry, I am here." Nick Fury smiled bitterly and said, "You don't have to go." Tony Stark was taken aback for a moment, then he paused and turned his head suspiciously. Outside the window of the main control room of the space carrier, the door of the yellow Camaro slowly opened. A slightly thin figure, holding a fat husky, appeared in Tony's line of sight. The entire control room suddenly quieted strangely. The needle falls can be heard. An agent sitting in front of the computer suddenly asked the colleague beside him weakly, "How high are we now?" The colleague next to him also replied weakly, "Almost 9 kilometers." Then, "Is there oxygen outside now?" At the same time, he shook his head with an emotional expression on his face. It is clear. Even if there is a little oxygen outside, it is scary and scary. It is impossible for human beings to survive outside without the help of other equipment. But the human in front of him seemed to be okay, holding his pet dog for a walk on the deck. What is going on in this world? Is this person a human? Why can his car fly? Why can he smoke roar at an altitude of 9 kilometers? On the deck, Lin Yu didn't actually want to pretend. He simply didn't understand the relationship between the height of the space carrier and the degree of oxygen scarcity. In fact, I didn't know that there was no oxygen outside. But when Lin Yu walked out of the car door, there was a system prompt in his mind in an instant. Asterisk, ding. The air around you seems to feel the feeling of being needed by others, actively increasing the oxygen content in the air, suitable for roar inhalation, fresh and tangy. Ding. Your pet dog suddenly feels that roar can't breathe well. Awakening has a super survival system that can survive in the void for more than 10 days without relying on foreign objects. The thin oxygen is naturally not a problem. Lin Yu just froze for a moment, and felt that the air around him was extremely comfortable. Can't help taking a deep breath. Then, Lin Yu was fascinated by the scenery in front of him. Standing on the deck of the space carrier, looking around, emptying thousands of miles, it is as free as a bird. Except that the wind is a bit strong, everything else is pretty good. After a casual stroll, Lin Yu finally started to walk towards the main control room on the space carrier. And at the moment, in the general control room, all the people, their eyes widened, their mouths widened, and speechless. How does this guy feel like he's here to travel? At this moment, from the communicator in front of Nick Fury, the voice of the guard at the gate underneath suddenly came. The voice seemed a little surprised. It seemed like something incredible happened. "Chief, someone is knocking on the door outside. Do you need to open the door?" Hearing these words, Nick Fury suddenly showed a wry smile on his face. Nothing normal has ever happened to this guy. Drive to the sky, take the pet dog on the space mothership, and enjoy the scenery at an altitude of 9 kilometers. What's more weird is that he actually knocked on the door. Nick Fury heard for the first time that it takes a knock on the door to enter the space carrier. Can't you talk about it when you come? Even if it is troublesome to call, send a message. Nick Fury smiled bitterly. Under the gaze of dozens of people, he slowly picked up the communicator in front of him. Cough. Open the door. This sentence seemed to exhaust all of Nick Fury's physical strength. When he comes into contact with Lin Yu, he always feels caught off guard. Every time Lin Yu's behavior makes his brain hurt. But sometimes Nick Fury also thinks that he is very smart, but fortunately he took the initiative to agree to the request of the other party. With a Sharon, in exchange for the opponent's team, it seems that he has made a lot of money. If Lin Yu becomes his own enemy, it might be even more troublesome. It's so difficult to be a teammate. If you become an enemy, Nick Fury can't imagine the terrifying picture. 1 minute later, Lin Yu's dangling figure, holding Erha, finally appeared in the main control room of the space mothership. In fact, Lin Yu's image, apart from a little thinner, has no other place to stretch too much. But compared with the house full of agents, and the sturdy guys like Steve and Thor, it seemed a little out of place. It seems that Lin Yu and them are not the same kind of people at all. But Although Lin Yu did not look like a fighter at all the agents present did not despise Lin Yu at all. Even, they feel that Lin Yu is really awesome compared to these guys who look extremely mighty. After all, Lin Yu didn't use any oxygen equipment just now, and was wandering around 9 kilometers in the sky. He is a real master. And Lin Yu is much more approachable than these guys with high self-esteem. As soon as he entered the door, Lin Yu kindly attacked Roar. "Ah, is this the legendary Thor? Hello, hello. Mr. Stark, long time no see, your press conference is really wonderful. Hi, Dr. Banner, did you finally run out of Rose's cage? Miss Romanov, meet again. The quality of the fans in our shop is good, right?" Almost all the Avengers members in this room had an intersection with Lin Yu once. Except Thor. The last time I came to the Earth was a bit early, and I didn't meet Lin Yu and didn't know Lin Yu very well. Others knew some information about Lin Yu more or less. After all, for a while, Erha, who was making troubles throughout New York, followed Lin Yu. Lin Yu didn't even leash the dog. As soon as I entered the house, I untied the dog leash and threw it away. When Gang O got out of the car, he was holding on to the leash, just because Lin Yu was afraid of being blown away by the wind. At the moment, after Erha got out of Lin Yu's control, he sprang up everywhere in the room. It seems that I have arrived in a brand new environment, and I am a little excited. This frightened the agents who knew the true strength of Erha. The existence of Erha is not secret inside S.H.I.E.L.D. Therefore, almost all agents know that Erha can transform into that kind of terrifying monster. For a time, in the entire control room, the agents did not even dare to gasp. And at the moment, in Lin Yu's mind, the system prompt sounded already. Ding. Congratulations to the host for meeting Thor, the core Marvel protagonist for the first time, and rewarding 2 plot points. Ding. Congratulations to the host for the first time seeing Dr. Bruce Banner, the core protagonist of Marvel, and rewards 2 plot points. Ding. Congratulations to the host for participating in the general Marvel plot. Avengers gathered for the first time and rewarded 2 plot points. In an instant, Lin Yu got 6 plot points. After attending the Iron Man debut conference before, Lin Yu's plot point has reached 14 points. Plus the current 6 points, it has already reached the standard of system upgrade. At the moment, in Lin Yu's mind, the system prompts again. Ding, congratulations, the host has met the system upgrade conditions, and the system is being upgraded. The system upgrade is complete, please check it by the host. Lin Yu was so excited. The 4-level system has long been awaited. At this moment, after hearing the system prompt, Lin Yu simply found a seat and sat down in the main control room. You are busy with yours, leave me alone, I will rest for a while. After Lin Yu said something, he leaned directly on the backrest and closed his eyes. Close your eyes and rest your mind. It's as casual as if you were in your own home. Around, there was a shock. This gangster really came here on vacation. After watching the scenery, you must rest. Sure enough, it was completely different from these mortals. Among the Avengers, Tony was the least convinced. He was originally a character who was not afraid of anything. And every time Lin Yu had an intersection with him, he would be very unfriendly to him. That night, Lin Yu completely robbed himself of the limelight with his Autobot and made himself embarrassed at the press conference. This time, I originally wanted to save the agent of the ship S.H.I.E.L.D., but I didn't want it and almost got tricked by Lin Yu. When we met just now, he even dared to mention the press conference to himself. It's so deceiving. At this moment, seeing Lin Yu so ignorant of everyone, he closed his eyes and calmed his mind. Tony quit immediately. He is going to compete with Lin Yu and grab his limelight. But, just 2 steps towards Lin Yu, he was stopped by Nick Fury. At the moment, the cold sweat on Nick Fury's face has come out. He saw Tony's thoughts at a glance. If these 2 guys fight on the space carrier, the consequences will be disastrous. Not to mention the destruction of the space carrier, Tony definitely can't eat it. Nick Fury knows Lin Yu's character very well. General Ross is a stark example. After provoking Lin Yu directly sent Erha to destroy the entire New York military base. Moreover, Nick Fury heard that General Rose now looks almost like himself. All my hair and eyebrows are burnt away, and my face is also burnt. Terrible. Tony is one of the core members of Avengers, which he formed. It is an essential member. Because, in many technological equipment, S.H.I.E.L.D. still needs to rely on Tony. Let's go to the laboratory first and see how to find the location of Tesseract. Nick Fury hurriedly winked at Natasha Romanoff. Natasha Romanoff hurriedly said, "Yes, the most important thing for us now is to find Tesseract first." Natasha Romanoff took 2 steps forward, left and right with Nick Fury, and took Tony out of the main control room. The others also slowly followed. In the main control room of the space carrier, only Lin Yu, who closed his eyes and rested, and Erha, who was scheming everywhere, were left with a room of agents who were frightened. And at the moment, although Lin Yu closed his eyes, but he didn't really rest. After there was no interruption from others, Lin Yu excitedly opened the system panel. A blue light curtain appeared in Lin Yu's sight again. This look. Lin Yu's eyebrows were suddenly overjoyed. The blue light curtain in front of Lin Yu clearly showed all the changes after the system was promoted to level 4. Host. Lin Yu system level. Level 4, 30 plot points are required to upgrade to the next level. After the system is upgraded to level 5, new functions and spatial mutations will be opened. Because the mutations generated by the system no longer simply affect creatures and objects, but can affect the space. Plot point. 0 points remaining appearance range of mutants. For any living and non-living substances that are connected with the host, the attribution of the mutants is not restricted. Probability of each level of variant. Probability of level 1 mutants, 40%. Probability of second-order mutants, 30%. Probability of third-order mutant emergence, 20%. Probability of fourth-order variants, -10%. Appearance probability of fifth-order mutants, 1%, can be triggered in extreme cases. Probability of sixth-order variants, 0%. The effect of this promotion is obvious. The biggest change is that after reaching level 4, even if it is not Lin Yu's stuff, it can mutate. As long as it is something related to Lin Yu, it can be mutated. Make an analogy. For example, the space carrier that Lin Yu is currently on is not Lin Yu's thing, but the property of S.H.I.E.L.D. If this space carrier was previously incapable of mutation. But now, after Lin Yu's system is upgraded to Tier 4, this space carrier may be mutated because Lin Yu is inside. In addition, that is, the probability of the appearance of various variants of the same order has changed again. The probability of higher-order mutants has increased. On this system panel, it also explains the direction of improvement after the next upgrade. Wait until the system is upgraded to level 5, and it can even affect the space. Could it be that after the mutation can affect the space, you can teleport? Lin Yu secretly asked. However, he just thought about it casually. Didn't care too much. It is still a little far away to consider the 5th level. After all, 30 plot points are not easy to get. In addition to these conventional descriptions. After this upgrade, a line of text appeared at the bottom of the blue light curtain. When you see this line of words, Lin Yu was really shocked. This is a new ability that appeared after the system was promoted to level 4. The description is simple. However, for Lin Yu, it is very important. Turn on the negative mutation ability. Any life that speaks badly to the host or does it will be affected by the negative mutation. The scope of the negative mutation and the probability of each level of the mutation are related to the system level, and the probability of the positive mutation is the same. The next level will be promoted to any life that has evil thoughts on the host, and will be affected by negative mutations. Read this line again carefully. Lin Yu's mood became more and more excited. Doesn't this mean that anyone who dares to oppose him in the future will be in bad luck? Negative mutation, isn't it getting worse and worse? After this, who would dare to be an enemy of oneself? And even more terrifying is after the system has advanced to level 5. At that time, as long as anyone dares to have any bad thoughts about themselves, there will be negative mutations around them. This is too strong. Even though this is his own skill, Lin Yu couldn't help but sigh. At the moment, Lin Yu, lying lazily on the chair, suddenly opened his eyes. There was an excited smile on his face. It seems to indicate that someone is going to be unlucky. At the moment, just when Lin Yu got up and walked out of the main control room. In the laboratory of the space carrier, several members of Avengers suddenly quarreled. These people, whether it is a genius scientist Tony Stark, or the originally powerful Thor, or the Captain of the United States Steve, are all unruly people. Everyone has the capital to be proud of. When these people are put together, and no one is convinced, chaos naturally arises. In addition, Steve accidentally discovered that S.H.I.E.L.D. was researching weapons and equipment through Tesseract. For a time, the whole laboratory was full of quarrels. Even Nick Fury, who has always been calm, participated in this quarrel strangely. And in this laboratory, Loki's mind scepter is emitting a light blue light. Everyone didn't notice that their mentality today seemed to be particularly irritable. And at the moment, just when everyone kept arguing, Lin Yu already took Erha and quietly came to the cabin where Loki was closed. Lin Yu still has to get the plot points on Loki. Although the 30 plot points of the next upgrade are not easy to gather, but the accumulation of less will make a lot of it. Naturally, no plot point can be missed. When Lin Yu walked into this room, Loki was entertaining himself in that huge amounts of glass secret room. It seems that I am not worried at all about my current situation. Ding. Congratulations to the host for the first time seeing Loki, the core protagonist of the Marvel world, the god of tricks. You will be rewarded with 2 plot points. In Lin Yu's mind, the system prompt sounded. What surprised Lin Yu was that he didn't expect this Loki to be a protagonist. I even provided myself with 2 plot points. A smile suddenly appeared on Lin Yu's face. And at the moment, Loki, who was locked in the strengthening glass cell, suddenly said coldly, "Hey, are you the weakest kid among these freaks?" Loki discussed every Avengers member with Barton, who was under his control. For Lin Yu, he has never taken it seriously. He feels that if his own strength is not enough, he can only be slaughtered fish. Lin Yu, a guy who only relies on external forces, is not even worth paying attention to as a high-level agent like Natasha Romanoff. Hearing Loki's words, Lin Yu was immediately happy. What you said makes sense, I am indeed the weakest. Lin Yu yawned and said nonchalantly. Immediately afterwards, without waiting for Loki to say anything, Lin Yu slowly said, "No matter how weak I am a human like them. No matter how strong you are also a freak in Asgard." As a person familiar with every character and every plot of Marvel, how could Lin Yu not know where Loki's wound is? He was not originally from Asgard. It was the baby that Odin brought back in Jotunheim when he fought in the Giants of Jotunheim. In other words, Loki is actually a Giants of Jotunheim. He is the child of an enemy of the Aesir Protoss. This is the eternal pain in Loki's heart. In his heart, he always felt that it was his origin that made his father Odin favor his brother Thor so much. Lin Yu's words are like sprinkling salt on his wounds. Loki rage all of a sudden. He even forgot that his purpose of coming here was actually to provoke these Avengers members. Loki's face was cold and frosty, and the anger in his eyes was almost gushing out. He leaned in front of the glass and said viciously, "You will wait for me. When I go out, I will chop off your limbs and dig out your eyes to make you change. Become a real monster." Loki yelled with teeth and claws. He was about to hate Lin Yu to death. But, facing Loki's harsh words, Lin Yu's expression remained calm. And there seems to be a rude smile on his face. Ding, Loki, the god of tricks, was rude to the host and caused dissatisfaction in the cell under his feet. It decided to take Loki out to breathe, calm. At the moment, Loki in the glass cell was suddenly taken aback. He seemed to perceive something wrong. Like, what is happening under my feet? Loki hurried to the edge of the glass cell, looking down through the glass. When I saw the scene below, Loki's heart trembled suddenly. The door under the glass cell opened by itself. Roar howled the wind. The bottom seems to be like an abyss, with no bottom. Before, Nick Fury introduced this cell specifically to him. This is a cell specially made for the Hulk banner. Its most powerful feature is that it can instantly throw the cell towards the bottom of the space carrier. Falling directly to the ground at an altitude of 9 kilometers, this terrifying impact, I am afraid that Loki may not be able to resist it. Loki was dumbfounded. He originally thought that if he stayed in there honestly, he shouldn't be thrown away. However, I did not expect that the actual situation seems a bit weird. The guy named Lin Yu obviously didn't move the switch. And he didn't do anything outrageous. Why? The door below suddenly opened. Loki looked dumbfounded. Could it be that if you just said something cruel, you will suffer retribution? It shouldn't be. As the god of Asgard's tricks, I haven't spoken harshly in this life. At the moment, Lin Yu, standing outside the glass cell, suddenly smiled. Waved to Loki inside, as if saying goodbye. Loki's face changed. Swish! Loki in the glass cell instantly disappeared from Lin Yu's sight. Lin Yu bent down slightly and looked down. I can't see Loki's figure long ago. The glass cell was descending quickly. Although the height of the space carrier is now about 9 kilometers, Lin Yu estimates that in less than a minute, Loki will be in close contact with the ground. At this moment, Nick Fury, who was arguing with the Avengers in the space mothership laboratory, suddenly received a report from his subordinates. "Chief, no. The system on the mothership showed that the cell where Loki was locked up suddenly fell. What? Nick Fury was surprised, hastily turned and ran in the direction of the cell. Behind him, Thor hurriedly followed. Compared to other Avengers members, Thor's hearing is much better than others. So, I clearly heard the sound in Nick Fury's earphones. Thor was stunned. Also terrified. He also heard Nick Fury's introduction of the cell before. Although his younger brother Loki is of the giants of Jotunheim's physique, he is very strong, but Thor is also a little worried about whether he can withstand the impact of this intensity. Thor is still very concerned about Loki's younger brother. Although he often causes troubles, Thor has always treated him as his own brother. In 3 or 2 steps, Thor ran in front of Nick Fury and rushed to the location of the cell. He has heard the wind of roar. Obviously, after the cell fell, there was no sound of closing the door below. When Thor came to the room where the cell was, Lin Yu was looking down. Thor glanced at Lin Yu, his eyes full of anger. It must be this guy. He pressed the switch and threw his brother down. But at this time, Thor has no time to settle accounts with Lin Yu. He grabbed the hammer in his hand and jumped directly from the hole. He is going to save Loki. If Loki dies, he will regret it forever. Thor just went down for a few seconds. Nick Fury came into this room out of breath. When he saw Lin Yu was here, he was taken aback. Immediately afterwards, it seemed that something came to mind. Then, weakly asked, "Counselor Lin, it is you who put Loki down." There is no one else in this room, and Nick Fury suspects Lin Yu, which is normal. However, he didn't dare to blame Lin Yu, he could only ask humbly. But Lin Yu slowly shook his head, spread his hands innocently, and said, "It seems that your machine is broken. I didn't press that switch." Lin Yu pressed his tongue and pointed to the switch that was still intact. Obviously, the switch cover is still not opened. Lin Yu definitely won't admit it. Only if there is a hole in your head will you admit that you did it yourself. Moreover, the good things the system does will not leave any evidence. Even if you call up monitoring, it has nothing to do with yourself. Nick Fury gave a wry smile. He doesn't believe in the unrealistic reason why the machine is broken. But he didn't dare to question Lin Yu. I can only say to the agent in the communicator, "Hurry up and send someone to check what is wrong." As the actual person in charge of this space carrier, he must be responsible for everything that happens on it. If Loki is really thrown to death, it is estimated that Thor will definitely run away. He must give Thor an explanation. But what everyone on the space carrier does not know is, just when the glass cell fell, an airplane appeared just below the space carrier. And Hawkeye Barton on the plane saw the fallen glass cell for the first time. His eyesight is very good. I saw Loki in the glass cell in an instant. His heart was startled, but he also reacted immediately. The plane opened fire for the first time and hit the glass cell. As the high-level agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., Barton is very familiar with this space carrier, and also quite familiar with this cell. He understood that he wanted to break the strengthening glass wall of the cell in such a rapid fall. It is estimated that even with Loki's strength, it is impossible. So, there is only one way. It was through the fire on the plane to smash that cell outside. Thor is still late. When he landed on the ground with Mjolnir in his hand, only one piece of glass was seen. Loki is missing. Thor looked around on the ground and found no trace of Loki. He frowned, grabbed Mjolnir, and flew to the space carrier again. Although Loki's body was not found, it is possible that Loki was not thrown to death. But Thor is still very rage in his heart. In his heart, he has already determined that Lin Yu put the cell down. This behavior is simply a provocation to Asgard. An ordinary human dared to provoke the majesty of God. It's almost dead. Sor in this period is still very proud of his identity as the Asgard Protoss. Some people look down on ordinary people on Earth. Thor angrily returned to the deck. He didn't even knock on the door. Directly blasted the door open with a hammer. Then loudly roared, "Lin Yu, come out and die for me." Thor's voice directly penetrated countless walls and reached Lin Yu's ears. Definitely. Except Lin Yu. Other Avengers members, as well as countless S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, all heard this angry voice. Nick Fury, who was standing next to Lin Yu, said in his heart a bad voice. He hurriedly turned his head to look at Lin Yu. I couldn't help but pray. I hope Lin Yu will not really get angry because of this sentence. Otherwise, my own space carrier will suffer. In Nick Fury's heart, he has imagined that horror picture. Thor is holding Mjolnir with a violent thunder shining on his body, and Lin Yu stands opposite him with a face full of anger. Behind Lin Yu, an Autobot and 3 terrifying green hell 3-headed dogs. Don't let the gods fight and hurt mortals. Nick Fury's fantasy is not without reason. Thor and Lin Yu, one arrogant and one defect must be reported, neither is good. Nick Fury knows this best. If the two men really fought, then Avengers would be the first to disintegrate before starting a battle with Loki's army. The Avengers project is Nick Fury's greatest effort, and naturally he doesn't want it to die. At this moment, Nick Fury looked carefully in Lin Yu's direction. In his heart, he was ready. In any case, even if you fight your own life, you have to stop Lin Yu. At the very least, you can't let the two of you really start. Otherwise, the consequences will be unimaginable. But when Nick Fury's eyes saw Lin Yu, he was suddenly taken aback. Because what Lin Yu rage imagined did not appear. On the contrary, Lin Yu seemed to be in a good mood. There was a slight smile on his face. What's the situation? Nick Fury's head won't react for a while. Lin Yu, although he always likes not to play cards according to the routine, he shouldn't be indifferent when he hears the opponents begging. This is not his character. But Lin Yu in front of me is really lifeless. What situation? At this moment, Lin Yu also seemed to notice the panic on Nick Fury's face. He turned his head, smiled slightly at Nick Fury, and then said, "Don't worry, you can't fight. A little Thor is not worth my hand." Hearing Lin Yu's words, Nick Fury almost had a heart attack. Although this guy is not angry, he still has that big tone. Although Nick Fury feels that the two monsters around Lin Yu are indeed very strong, it is not enough to prevent Lin Yu from paying attention to Thor. That person is a real god. However, Lin Yu's statement made Nick Fury wonder how to persuade him. Seeing Lin Yu slowly walking out, Nick Fury didn't stop it, and it didn't happen if he didn't stop. He was a little overwhelmed for a while. After thinking for a while, he simply caught up with Lin Yu in 2 steps and followed Lin Yu. He felt that it was better for him to follow, and if he still had to fight, he would at least be able to pull a fight. Although it may not be able to pull just now. Just after Thor roared, the voice of the system rang in Lin Yu's mind. Ding. Thor speaks wildly and scolds his host angrily. Mjolnir feels that his host is too arrogant and decides to give up. Ding. Mjolnir suddenly became interested in the host and wanted to get closer to the host. Hear Thor's crazy words. Lin Yu actually wanted to get angry. But hearing this prompt sound from the system again, the anger in my heart suddenly went out again. What does Mjolnir want to be close to himself? Is it possible that this guy wants to betray his master and throw himself into his arms? Is there such a good thing? Lin Yu's face was full of surprises. In the last life, I saw Thor's Mjolnir in the movie, and Lin Yu had imagined countless times that if he had such a powerful hammer, it would be so exciting. Did not expect. The surprise came so suddenly. What are you waiting for? Decisively take advantage of Mjolnir's strike, go get close to it. Lin Yu took a step forward and hurriedly walked outside. At the same time, Thor, who just finished roaring, suddenly felt something wrong. It's not right. Why is the Mjolnir in my hand getting heavier and heavier? This is impossible. Thor hurriedly wanted to raise Mjolnir to his eyes to take a closer look at what was wrong. But when Thor tried to lift the hammer, he found that he couldn't lift it too heavily. Although the veins on Thor's arm were exposed, it still didn't help. He has encountered this situation before. It was 2 years ago. He was exiled to the earth by his father Odin because he did something wrong. At that time, Mjolnir didn't admit to himself, so he couldn't lift it up by himself. And at the moment, as Mjolnir gets heavier, Thor becomes holding the hammer with both hands. There was also a look of horror on his face. Most of his abilities are in this hammer. If you lose Mjolnir, then you will be a scumbag. But the more Thor wanted to lift Mjolnir, the heavier he felt Mjolnir. His face was already sweating. I don't know if it's because of too much force or too scared. When Lin Yu and Nick Fury came to Thor, they happened to see Thor's miserable scene. Dignified Thor can't even hold his own weapon. Moreover, this hammer, few people call Roar its real name Mjolnir. Everyone likes to use Mjolnir to describe this hammer. But now, it's ridiculous that Thor can't afford Mjolnir. This is nothing short of slipping the world. Thor clearly understands that at the moment's own image is indeed a bit embarrassing. When he saw Nick Fury and Lin Yu arrive, Thor was completely embarrassed into anger. Don't be ashamed in front of these mortals. Must pick it up. Boom. Mjolnir completely separated from Thor's hands and fell onto the deck of the space carrier. Thor also thought, almost squatting on the ground. But Thor still didn't give up, grabbing Mjolnir's hammer handle with both hands again. But no matter how hard he tried, Mjolnir seemed to grow on a space carrier, motionless. Thor, who could not hold Mjolnir, suddenly knelt on the ground. Facing the sky, he shouted, "Father, why don't you let me pick up Mjolnir? Why?" There seemed to be a hint of crying in Thor's voice. Because there was a precedent, Thor thought that he couldn't afford Mjolnir again this time because of his father Odin. At this moment, Lin Yu and Nick Fury suddenly looked at each other as if they had a sharp heart. They both saw a trace of embarrassment in each other's eyes. Even Lin Yu felt a little embarrassed. This kind of watching when others are most miserable is really not good. Although Thor can't afford Mjolnir, it's because of Lin Yu. Or, let's avoid it first, Lin Yu said to Nick Fury. Lin Yu is not a robber either. At this time, if I ran over and got close to Mjolnir, it would be a bit too much to take advantage of others. Although Thor just called the advantage of the device, he actually did not cause any actual harm to Lin Yu. Lin Yu is very big. Sometimes very big. Nick Fury nodded hastily after hearing Lin Yu's words. He also felt a little embarrassed. Moreover, he wished that the two of them were far away. But just when Lin Yu and Nick Fury were about to turn around and leave, Thor, who was sitting on his knees, suddenly raised his head. His eyes were red, and he seemed to be at the tipping point of rage and collapse. "Mortals, dare to challenge the majesty of the Acer Protoss, you are looking for death." Thor has lost all his hammers, and he hasn't forgotten to trouble Lin Yu. Hearing Thor's words, Nick Fury's head is big. This Thor, how did he grow so big? Isn't his father the legendary god King Odin? Don't you even know how to discipline your own son? Lost all his weapons, still thinking about the illusory majesty? Lin Yu was happy. I was really amused by this stunned green. I can't hold my hammer anymore, still thinking about my majesty? It's as if a beggar can't eat food, he still wants to see beautiful women. Can majesty be eaten? Go crazy. Lin Yu took the steps he had just taken, and took it back. Turned around, sneered, looking at the brainless Thor in front of him. Recalling the plot in the previous movie, combined with the Thor that he saw with his own eyes, Lin Yu finally understood why Odin didn't pass the position of the King of God to him earlier. This guy obviously doesn't have a good brain. Lin Yu doesn't like to deal with guys who don't work well. Especially if the brain is not good, but also brute force. Maybe, I have to mess with it. The only way is to completely destroy the confidence of the other party. At this moment, Lin Yu suddenly said coldly, "Are you sure you want to pretend to be in front of me?" If it is a normal person, Lin Yu may go to explain. But faced with Thor who provoked himself twice, Lin Yu no longer wanted a peaceful solution. One's own indulgence can only make others think that it is weakness. Instead of that, it's better to let the other party understand how terrible they are. Aside. After hearing Lin Yu's words, Nick Fury was shocked. It's over. This time is completely over. Two big guys, I can't stop them. Although Nick Fury is very afraid of the two fighting, he is not stupid. At this time, if you stand in the middle of the two, it is estimated that you will be the only one who is unlucky. There is only one way. Gather everyone's strength to stop these two people together. Nick Fury took 2 steps backwards quietly, and then said to the communicator in his ear, "Natasha Romanoff, hurry up and call everyone to the gate of Area A. Thor is going to fight Lin Yu." He really has no choice but to choose foreign aid. After Roar finished calling the foreign aid, Nick Fury's figure slowly moved on his hind legs again and came to a corner. He didn't want the battle between the two to affect himself. And at the moment, just after Lin Yu said that sentence, Erha behind Lin Yu also walked a few steps forward and came to Lin Yu's front. As a loyal dog, he has already felt the anger on his master. At first sight, Erha's body was already covered with a touch of green. The transformation of the 3-headed dog from the green flame hell is about to begin. But at this moment, Lin Yu suddenly stretched out his foot and kicked Erha's ass. Although he didn't kick, the green on Erha's body suddenly shrank back like a tide. Lin Yu snorted softly, while playing "I Don't Need You." Outside the door that had turned into scum, the Hornet, who was just about to transform, stopped in fright after hearing these words. As an Autobot who surpasses Earth's technology, It can observe the status of its owner at any time through the monitoring and recording equipment on the space carrier. But it is a bit smarter than Erha, knowing to converge, not to rush to the front of everything stupidly. But the sudden appearance and departure of Erha did not affect Thor. He has slowly stood up, his eyes burning with anger. For Lin Yu, he also heard some news from Natasha Romanoff and Steve. This guy is just a little weird. Plus there are 2 nice pets around. Others, nothing. Mortal, I will let you understand how stupid it is to provoke the gods of the Acer Protoss. Thor snorted coldly, clenched his fist, and struck Lin Yu. Although he rarely fights with his fists, relying on the powerful flesh of the Acer Protoss, there is no problem dealing with a mortal on Earth. Thor felt in his heart that even if the 2 monsters they said were going together, he would not fail. But Thor is just a little bit nasty, but he is not a big evil person. His fist was not aimed at Lin Yu's vitals. Instead, he aimed at Lin Yu's shoulder. He prepared to let Lin Yu suffer, however. Facing Thor Rage's punch, Lin Yu didn't seem to react at all. Let Thor's fists keep getting closer. Ding! Thor showed his fist to the host, which caused dissatisfaction with Thor's boots on his feet. Why did he punch instead of kick? The boots decided to increase their weight and increase their importance. Thor has 2 or 3 steps before he can come to Lin Yu. Give Lin Yu an unforgettable lesson, but at this time, Thor suddenly noticed something wrong. It's like when I couldn't hold Mjolnir just now. He suddenly found that his feet suddenly became heavy. And this change is faster than Mjolnir getting heavier. Although the weight is not heavier than Mjolnir, it is difficult for Thor in running to adapt to this change. Puff. He fell to the ground. Face down, fell a dog and chewed shit. Nick Fury hiding in the corner was stunned. Looked dumbfounded. What's the situation? Okay, how can you make such a big gift? This time, Thor really fell into a blindfold. Just after experiencing that his brother almost died, and experienced Mjolnir's abandonment, after such a fall, Thor felt a kind of dizzy feeling in the whole person. It's like, I just rejected the confession of my base friend, and then my girlfriend suddenly called and said to break up. The sky is dim and the sky is spinning. For a moment, Thor couldn't get up on the ground. And at the moment, there was a mess of footsteps, suddenly from far to near. Natasha Romanoff took the Avengers members and all rushed over. When they heard Nick Fury say that Lin Yu and Thor were about to fight, they were extremely nervous, so they all trot and rushed to the scene. But the scene before him stunned all these people. How does it feel so weird? At the moment, Nick Fury hid in a corner, his face full of shock. And Thor is lying on the ground, face down, facing Lin Yu. There seems to be something he dare not see. And Lin Yu, standing on the ground so quietly, there was no expression on his face. The appearance of these 3 people can be as strange as they are. This is how Chief Fury said the 2 were going to fight. How to spell? Do you roll around? Everyone is a little confused. As long as it happens to Lin Yu, there will always be something unusual. And the current situation seems to have appeared because was Lin Yu. Because, among the 3, only Lin Yu's situation seemed a little more normal. But in the eyes of everyone, Lin Yu, who looked a little normal, walked forward slowly at the moment. It bypassed Thor's body lying on the ground, then came to the side of Mjolnir. With all the stunned expressions on their faces, they bent down and grabbed one hand on the handle of Mjolnir's hammer. As if there was no effort, he lifted it up. The Mjolnir, which was built with the dying fixed star kernel, was so easily picked up by Lin Yu. Suddenly Thor felt a little bit and got up from the ground. His feet did not move on the spot, but his upper body and neck turned back, looking at Lin Yu behind him. Moment. His eyes widened, mouth opened wide. The mood suddenly fell to the bottom. He actually picked up Mjolnir. Especially Meow, who just said that Lin Yu is just an ordinary person. For Mjolnir, that is Mjolnir, these people still know something about it. Although none of them tried to pick it up. But according to the information of S.H.I.E.L.D., this hammer is not something ordinary people can hold. Only those who are recognized by it can pick it up. And at the moment, this powerful Mjolnir was so easily held by Lin Yu. It shocked everyone's eyes. From Thor's horrified look, it can be seen that even his master of Mjolnir is stunned. At the moment, Thor is still trapped in place. The boots on his feet were still heavy and unable to lift. But one of his hands suddenly lifted up, and his palm stretched out, showing a state of grasping. At the moment, this is his favorite action and also the most commonly used action. Generally, when he does this, Mjolnir will take the initiative to fly into his hands. However, this time, he was still disappointed. After raising his hand for a few seconds, Mjolnir was still lying quietly in Lin Yu's hand, with no response at all. It's like the phone lost the signal and didn't receive Thor's call. Thor retracted his arm with a lonely expression, as if he had lost his beloved one. But even if he made this expression, Lin Yu would no longer pity him. After all, Lin Yu had already pitied him once. But he didn't appreciate it. At this moment, Lin Yu held Mjolnir and walked forward slowly 2 steps. He came to Thor and said calmly, "This hammer, lend me to play for a day, and I will return it to you if you have enough." Lin Yu's words are very plain. It's like borrowing an eraser between 2 good friends. After I have erased all the typos in this workbook, I will return the eraser to you. That's pretty much what it means. Thor wanted to refuse, but he couldn't say anything. In his eyes, there is only sadness and speechlessness. Definitely. Lin Yu didn't give him a chance to speak either. Said it was borrowing, but it was actually grabbing. It only borrowed for 1 day, and it was only because the system had prompted that Mjolnir just stopped for 1 day. It is estimated that after this day, Thor will be able to control this Mjolnir again. Then Lin Yu can only care about the 3721, first use it to play for a day and then talk about it. After all, it is a legendary artifact, 1 day can be played for 1 day. But Lin Yu did not return to the space carrier. But slowly, he walked to the side of Bumblebee. The 9-kilometer altitude and thin air still failed to cause any trouble to Lin Yu. It's like in your own garden. Without Lin Yu's hands, the car door opened by himself. Lin Yu held the hammer with a smile on his lips, and slowly got into the car. At this moment, all the Avengers, as well as Nick Fury, director of S.H.I.E.L.D., haven't been able to slow down. They are all staring straight at the leaving figure of Lin Yu. The color in his eyes, I don't know if it is envy or jealousy. It may also be panic. Behind him, Erha ran over, climbed up from under the door, and slipped to the position of the co-pilot. At this time, while Camaro's car door hadn't closed yet, Lin Yu suddenly smiled weirdly, and then suddenly stretched out his hand and pointed to the rear side of the space carrier. He whispered, "You, be careful of the enemy. Everyone, look in the direction of Lin Yu's finger." Suddenly, my heart was shocked. On the side and rear of the space carrier, there is an aircraft quietly approaching. Nick Fury hurriedly used the communicator in his ear to ask the agent in the main control room, "What's the matter with the aircraft behind the mothership side? Is it an enemy or a friendly army?" Although Lin Yu's voice is not loud and the air is thin, he cannot reach everyone's ears. But as an agent leader, Nick Fury knows lip language very well. He has already figured out the meaning of Lin Yu's words through Lin Yu's mouth shape. In the headset, a report from Nick Fury's staff came. "Director, that's our own aircraft, authorization number 4577. Before his subordinates finished the report, Nick Fury's expression suddenly became serious. He hurriedly yelled in the communicator, "It's the code, that's the enemy, not the friendly army. This number is the number of Barton of Blacken. Knock it down for me, hurry, hurry." Nick Fury was terrified. Actually, let the enemy fly to the side of the space carrier. At this time, Barton's is no longer safe. If you don't shoot it down, everyone present will be in danger. Nick Fury's voice is loud. All the Avengers members nearby heard it. Suddenly, they all became nervous, and at the moment, Camaro on the deck, the door finally closed slowly. Unlike a car, the Camaro, which was more like a flight machine, burst into a hot flame. 6 spray devices are activated at the same time. After rising slowly, he turned a corner in the sky, left the deck, and flew down. Everyone at Avengers seemed to be able to see Lin Yu smiling and waving at them through Camaro's front windshield. Damn this guy. Seeing the enemy coming, he ran away by himself. Everyone present couldn't help being disgusted with Lin Yu's behavior. But they never thought about it. If it weren't for Lin Yu just got a hand of Mjolnir today, I'm very happy. With Lin Yu's character and style, I guess he wouldn't even remind them that the enemy is coming. After all, this group of people, there is also Tony who is looking for Lin Yu to settle accounts, and there is also Thor who just wanted to give Lin Yu a bit of color. Lin Yu himself also knows the strength of these Avengers. Even if the enemy comes, I guess there is nothing to do with them. In the original plot, these Avengers also easily rescued the space carrier that almost crashed. This time, although he snatched Mjolnir, Thor's combat effectiveness was greatly reduced, but he also told them the enemy's trail in advance. One advantage and one disadvantage can be considered even. Definitely. Lin Yu left in a hurry for a reason. Because just now, Bumblebee had already contacted Lin Yu. The situation outside the space carrier was reported. With the Bumblebee there, nothing can be hidden from him. Lin Yu is very clear about Loki's rescue and Barden's arrival. The most important is, Lin Yu doesn't want to put himself in danger. What if the plot does not follow the script? What if the space carrier suddenly explodes? Although the mutation of the system has never let myself down. But Lin Yu still likes to be cautious. If there is no certainty of victory, you will stay far away. Besides, all the plot points that should be taken have been obtained, and there is no point in staying on this space carrier. Boom. Just not long after the Hornet left the space carrier, a violent explosion sounded from behind. Barden led a group of agents controlled by the psychic scepter and launched an attack on the space carrier. And at the moment, the hardest thing is Thor. He couldn't lift his feet until the explosion sounded.